because when it goes viral, the errant traders get a head start.
A small number of traders, they are irresponsible.
Remember pink, remember price control. Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, the go-to space for the top stories that made the headlines and more. My name is Amalina Kamal.
And I'm Hazrin Hassan.
And from Ramadan bazaar regulations to price control during festive seasons and the management of cooking oil as well as diesel subsidies, we will unpack it all in this special interview with the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living.
First up, though, we want to understand the challenges faced by the ministry in regulating Ramadan bazaars. These include difficulties in gathering evidence against non-compliant traders, the process of blacklisting errant traders, and strategies to enhance collaboration with consumer associations for more effective monitoring. And later on, we'll also highlight the enforcement of price control measures during festive seasons, especially with Hari Raya Aidilfitri coming up.
Yeah, I can't wait for that though. Separately, we will also be examining the protocols for monitoring and regulating the sale of subsidized cooking oil and whether complaints of shortages have reached a breaking point. Now, the discussion will also expand on the ministry's move to prevent future subsidy misappropriation, including measures to combat diesel smuggling activities. What are the monitoring protocols? Are we at a dire position? Are the collaborations between agencies proactive? Hence, I would just like to go ahead and introduce our guest that is here today from the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, the Enforcement Division, Director of Price Control and Anti-Profiteering, Tuan Zubir Hamsa. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond the Headlines.
Thank you for having me.
Right now, Tuan Zubir, I'd like to first start off with the questions, but before that, I'd like to backtrack to something that was quite shocking. While there have been quite a few cases prior, I think the most recent case that happened was particularly horrifying, which involved someone finding a piece of a dirty rag inside a Mutaba bought from the Desa Pandan Ramadan Bazaar. It was made viral. In fact, we ran the story. It was revolting, to say the least, and I can only imagine what it must have been like for the poor lady who found it, who had already bitten into it. Now, following that incident, the Health Ministry immediately said that authorities were looking into the matter, and DBKL carried out the investigation. The sale of the contaminated murtabak, the ministry says, was due to improper use of protective attire as well as failure to segregate raw and cooked food. And on the same day, the Health Ministry also said it had issued 3 compound notices after it received 19 complaints over cleanliness and food safety issues at Ramadan bazaars nationwide so far. Out of the 19 complaints that they've received, 8 of them went viral, and we're pleased to say here on the show that they've all been resolved, with one premises closed under Section 11 of the Food Act 1983. Now, to date, a total of 10,570 Ramadan bazaar premises have been inspected. The Health Ministry says it consistently monitors and inspects all Ramadan bazaar stalls nationwide. Now, to you, this question, right? Based on the case like the dirty rag Mutaba, your ministry then issued an advisory to remind the public to direct their complaints to KPDN, or the Consumer Affairs, first, instead of making it viral on social media. This, the ministry explained, is because when it goes viral, the errant traders get a head start and they start deleting evidence or any trace of their wrongdoing. Can you elaborate on the specific challenges faced by the ministry investigating cases of non-compliance by these traders, particularly those who try to get rid of their evidence?
Okay, thank you. Basically, there are 2 types of bazaar traders. We can segregate them into 2 types. The first one are season traders. Normally, they have cafes, restaurants, and during Ramadan month, they will go into bazaar business. But they are actually a season traders. The second type will be seasonal traders. They only operate during Ramadan month. They will operate for 1 month and then they will close down the business. For seasoned traders, those who have restaurants and cafes and eateries and everything, normally they are well managed. They have proper documents, their cost structure, their cost documents and everything are in order. But for seasonal ones, this is where the challenges is. Normally, even the price tags are made makeshift, I think. The cost and everything are not in order. So for us to get any documents from these seasonal traders are very hard. The best way is to investigate immediately. Let's say if it is viral for, let's say, 3-4 days, this will give ample time for them to destroy whatever evidence of wrongdoings. If the complaints comes first to us, then we will be able to take swift action and investigate the complaint. But if it is viral first, like I mentioned before, after 3 days, they will get to know about the viral issue also. So the advice will be complain to us first before making it viral, so we can conduct the investigation right away.
So there have been instances where the viral situation interrupted task force operations, basically. Obviously, but in that situation, how does KPDN or at least the enforcement division address the matter? Because it is a report, it is out there. How do you handle traders such as this?
We will conduct the investigation as soon as we get the complaints. Normally, we will go to the premises. We will start to dig out whatever information, investigate the workers, the owners, and the most important is the documents. When they have started the business, what have been done, all these documents will be analyzed. But once it is viral, it will be very hard for us, to get the evidence. Let's face it. If I were to do any wrongdoings, and I am well informed that whatever I have done before is in public, of course I will try my best to destroy whatever evidence that will get me incriminated.
Right. But the argument is that from some consumers or consumer group in this case is that without the attention, without all the noise from cases like this being made viral on social media, authorities tend to take it slowly, so to speak, when it comes to taking action. The biggest response that we got so far in terms of this issue is that there's a lack of inaction, or rather not a lot of feedback when they go to the authorities first to complain. Your comment on that, Tuan Zubir?
These are actually the perception of some consumers, a small number of consumers. They believe if it is not viral, no action will be taken. This is not true. Once you launch a formal complaint, there's a system there. The system will handle. There's an investigation officer, senior investigation officer, head of the unit to monitor the complaint. There won't be a situation where one complaint has not been investigated for a long time. Basically, we have to investigate and conclude any complaints within 21 days. Conclude, but the investigation regarding price, any matters regarding to price, and also for supply, it must be investigated within 24 hours. So to say that if it is not viral, it will not be investigated, it's just perception. It's not true.
It's counterproductive to the SOP that you have already, the turnaround time for the task force to deliver the report and action. I see. Okay. But there are also, questions when it comes to, streamlining the processes for receiving and addressing complaints directly. I just want to understand, how does the ministry, again, streamline the processes for receiving and addressing complaints directly from the public regarding non-compliance by traders in Ramadan bazaars?
We have 6 or 7 channels for public to complain to us. These channels are open to the publics every day. You can actually complain using WhatsApp. The number is 019-279-4317 or 019-848-8000. These are by WhatsApp. Secondly, you can complain through our own portal, e.aduan.kpdn.gov.my. Or if you want to call in, we have our call center, 1-800-886-800. This is our call center. You can also email us, e-aduan@kpdn.gov.my. The fifth and the most easiest one is smartphone application, EZ Adu. EZ Adu. You just download the application. You can complain directly via the application.
Right.
6, Enforcement Command Center. You want to talk to our enforcement officers and complain about how you get cheated or anything regarding to Ramadan Bazaar. 03 882 6088. These enforcement command centers are open during weekdays and also weekend up to 10 p.m.
Right.
every day.
In the past, there were also, recommendations to have, the ministry's presence actually in the bazaars itself. We have thousands of bazaars across the nation, right? But again, I'm not too sure what's the capacity for the ministry to actually set up a booth there so that, in any situation, a customer, are faced with complaints or issues when it comes to the trading, they can go directly to the booth. Similarly, like how sometimes certain bazaars have police enforcements there. Tuan Zubir?
Okay. We do have this constant, we call it everyday check to the bazaar, but we do not have a stall or booth at every bazaar. There are a lot of bazaars. There are only 2,200 officers for enforcement department throughout the nation, Peninsula, Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan, 2,200.
So the suggestion wouldn't be feasible at all?
Yeah, it will not be feasible for us, to allocate 2 or 3 personnel at every bazaar. If there are 1,000 bazaar, we only have 2,200. We put 2 person every bazaar, it will be 2,000 of us just standing at bazaar. So it will not be feasible, but I have given a lot of complaint channels. So public, if they have any grouses against anything, they can channel it via these complaint channels.
Tuan, can you also give us a little bit of clarity in terms of, the pricing of food items for Ramadan bazaars? Because we have also, again, social media has allowed us to, assess the complaints of, all these patrons saying that food items at bazaar sometimes reach up to 20 ringgit, 25 ringgit for something that they can actually, have a better experience, dining experience in stores. I just want to understand, like, how do you price the items and how does the checking mechanism take place?
Okay, first and foremost, we do not control the prices of foods at bazaar. It is up to traders, supply and demand. Basically we don't control. But if you believe some of the prices are too expensive, you can complain to us. There are this price control. Then the second element will be anti-profiteering. So if we receive any complaints about price hike or excessive pricing at bazaar, we will look into anti-profiteering section. Are these prices actually done according to the cost? We will investigate. What is the cost of the items? How much margin are you making? We will look into this anti-profiteering section if we receive complaints about prices are too high in bazaar.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you would look for in terms of, some food items that are more in demand, and then suddenly you see very, this prices skyrocketing up and exorbitant prices, is there anything particular you look out for?
No, we don't normally target anything.
Okay.
Like let's say you were mentioning about Mutaba.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have targets every year. Okay, this year we are going to look into Mutaba. Next year it will be
Okay.
fried rice. No, we don't
Alright.
have that.
Okay.
As long as there are any complaints regarding high prices, we will look into the matter. It doesn't matter how small or how big the items are or the price range. If you believe the prices are unreasonable, last year you bought it for 10 ringgit. The same trader this year are charging you 16 ringgit, citing, the prices of everything has gone up. And then you can complain to us. We will look into the matter. Is it true the prices of everything has gone up? Is it true that your cost is, has increased 60% for you to charge 16 ringgit per murtabak? These are the things that we'll look into every time we receive a complaint. We do not compare traders to traders. So this guy A is selling for 10 ringgit, the B is selling for 12 ringgit. So 12 ringgit must be profiteering. No, it's not like that. Because we want to analyze the cost according to themselves. A and B will have different costing. So we will investigate under the anti-profiteering section on the trader according to their own cost.
So this particular investigation, it's similarly the SOP within 24 hours. You have to attend to it, or 21 days basically. Sorry.
21 days is actually to complete the investigation.
Okay.
Everything must be done within 21 days, 14 to 21 days.
But on average, usually to complete an investigation,
it will take within 5 to 7 days normally. If all documents and details are there, it will be done between 3 to 7 days actually.
Will that interrupt? I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
But if it is about price, let's say about price in bazaar, and also about supply, it will be done within 24 hours. We will start the investigation right away.
And then to start the investigation, sorry guys, kejap mic tercabut. Start the investigation right away within 24 hours, and then the completion of it.
The completion of it,
you will follow the 21, 24 days too.
21 days is actually the maximum. The maximum day. 21 days are for complicated cases. You have to get statement from A, B and C. C is in Penang, B is in Sarawak, A is in Johor. It will take 21 days. But for Ramadan Bazaar, the bazaar is there, it is open every day, the traders are there. It will not take 21 days. It will be much faster.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to understand as well, with the Mutaba case, right? The dirty rag Mutaba. The reason for it is because of dirty practice. And this was shared by Health Ministry yesterday as well in a statement. Maybe you can give us the visibility of how cross-ministerial efforts are done here to ensure that a case is closed effectively.
Whenever we receive any complaint to us, we investigate on our own. But let's say we have this case of Mutaba. If there are any laws that are related to us, we will take the action immediately. Sometimes the agencies or the ministries will forward to us. Okay, we have received such a complaint. If there are any laws pertaining under our ministry, KPDN, it is for your action. Then we will take the action right away. But in the case of Mutaba, I think it is already viral. So whenever we get anything viral, we will investigate it right away.
The Mutaba is just one case, but we've seen a lot. We've seen the kuih lapis yang dah berkulat, the fungus kuih lapis, all that, and we often see this every year. do you think the awareness, not just among consumers, but among bazaar operators, is still very low when it comes to hiring or accepting the basically the traders who are supposed to sell the food items there? They should be partly responsible for allowing these people to sell, goods there as well, right? To what extent is the accountability on their side?
I think the biggest accountability will be on the seller themselves. When when anybody hires anyone to be in bazaar, there's no food testing, first of all. There's no food testing. We do not, I don't think anyone will say, okay, are you going to sell kuih lapis? Bring us some sample of kuih lapis. No. It will be, okay, the rent is so and so. You are allowed to sell. But to blame any authority, it doesn't matter who, whatever authority, to blame them because of one seller or two seller is selling something that are not hygiene or anything, I don't think it will be fair. The biggest responsibility will be upon the trader. You are selling it, you are making money, you are producing it. It is your responsibility to make sure everything is hygiene and healthy.
All right. I guess we can, before we wrap this segment up, I'd like to just ask, perhaps there should be more collaborative efforts between your ministry and perhaps the consumer associations like FOMCA, who raised the issue of, there was not a lot of feedback being given unless something like the Mutaba, dirty rag Mutaba was made viral. So what are your plans in terms of collaborating with consumer groups to make sure that you have better enforcement and effective monitoring?
We appreciate very much the help from NGOs. They help to channel complaints, they highlight issues. We only have 2,200 enforcement officers. Without the help from NGOs and public, those are eyes and ears of us in bazaars and everywhere. They will help us to channel everything, complaints and everything. Without their help, I think it will be very hard for us. It will be very hard for us. We cannot be everywhere. People like FOMCA and NGOs, they help us a lot. And we have a lot of engagement with them, to facilitate us, to help us with everything. The one thing that I would like to highlight is when somebody complains, be it NGOs or public, we need detailed complaint. A few times, most of the time, we will receive complaints such as high prices at Taman Tun. Example, this is an example, okay? Don't quote me on this. High prices at Taman Tun. Which area? Which shop?
Right.
What item are high price? One time we received complaints like this. A lot of items sold very high prices at Ampang. Come on, Ampang is a big place. Where should we head to? So if you have detailed complaints, it will help us to pinpoint the investigation. Some people, like to take pictures. The traders are there, they take pictures and everything. We do not require pictures, We do not require pictures. If they are pictures, okay, but don't get yourself into trouble by taking pictures and everything, Just give us the detailed complaints, the address, what are the items involved, what are the prices that you purchase and everything. We will do investigation.
I see. So there's no need for all the the ruckus of sorts viral kind of
the best
phone in the face situation.
Yeah, the best is the detailed complaint. If it is detailed, we can launch the investigation very fast and complete the investigation very fast.
Right. Sorry, I have one last question before we wrap up and move on to the next one. I want to understand, in terms of blacklisting the traders, right, from participating in Ramadan bazaars, how many do we have now exactly in terms of the blacklisted traders? And once they get blacklisted, are they able to return to, selling things after a certain grace period?
The Ministry of Domestic Trade does not blacklist anyone in Bazaar Ramadan. We investigate according to complaints, and we do normal check-ins, normal checks. So if we find anything, first of all, we normally give out warnings first for minor offences. Such as they are selling 10 items, 1 or 2 are without price tags. So we will, we believe it is not intentional. Everything else are price tag. Just 1 or 2 does not have price tag. We will just give out warnings. Okay, you see 2 of your items are without price tags. You need to put price tags. But after giving warnings, within 1 or 2 days, we will do recheck.
Right.
If you still have items without price tag, meaning you are actually a repeated offender. If you are a repeated offender, there will be no more warnings. You will be compounded,
Right.
or you will be charged at court. But we are not here to simply catch everybody. No. We would like to engage with traders. If there are any minor offences, we will actually give in for warnings. One warning. I don't think there will be 2 warnings lah. Just 1 warnings. If you keep on repeating it, then you will be booked.
Be booked?
Compounded or charged in court.
Another festive season, which is Hari Raya, that's coming up. The ministry also has this festive season price control scheme called SKMP that was set up almost about 2 decades ago, around the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken. Can you help to detail the enforcement of price control at different levels of the supply chain, Tuan Zubir?
Normally, for price control, festive season price control for Hari Raya Puasa, it will be announced by the Minister, YB Dato' Armizan, on the 3rd of April. We have a certain number of items, and he will be, making a press conference on these items. So I cannot reveal it for now.
Okay.
On the 3rd of April, it will be there.
May, you mean?
3rd of April, next month.
Okay. 3rd of April.
The price control will be done before Hari Raya and also after Hari Raya. So the announcement will be done earlier on April.
Okay.
We are celebrating.
Presumably it's going to be the usual, right? The usual suspects: chicken, beef.
Is there going to be any one item that is like not on the list previously, but now is?
I cannot mention the item, but these are normally the usual, like mentioned before, the usual suspects.
Maybe you can give us a little bit of clue at least on the number of items, or any items that people are really looking at to be controlled.
Let's say it this way. For Christmas, people will be looking, to have turkeys and things related to Christmas to be controlled.
Right.
For Deepawali, they will expect lamb and certain things to be in the price control. For Chinese New Year, it will be like prawn, things related to Chinese New Year. So for Hari Raya, basically it will be whatever we normally eat for Hari Raya. Those are the items that we are looking into right now.
Okay.
Maybe can you explain how we can ensure, compliance from both traders and consumers when it comes to supporting this price control scheme?
It is not easy to arrive to a certain price. Let's say we are going to control banana. Banana, prior, I think 2 months before certain festive season, we have already started the engagement, district level, and then we will go to state level, and finally it will be at national level. After we have discussed all the items, we will present it to our Director General, our Minister, and it will be handed over to the Cabinet. After the approval from Cabinet, and then we will do the announcement. So everything will be done accordingly, and we will compare the prices. Let's say banana. Banana will not be controlled. So, I'm giving this example. What is the price of banana right now? How was the price of banana for the past 1 year? Has it taken off? Does the price start to rise 2 weeks before Hari Raya?
Right.
We will look into everything before controlling the price. It must be win-win between consumer and also traders.
Yep.
We do not want any price to be so low that the traders are losing money. Of course, the consumers will like it. The prices are very low. But if it is too low to the point of consumers are not making any profit, they will refrain from selling it. So basically, there will not be any supply of that item in the market. So we have to make sure it is win-win. The prices are not too high, and it is not too low until it, the traders lose money.
But okay, there have been instances whereby during certain festive period, right? Certain food items are just nowhere to be seen, or there are also accusations of certain supermarkets, keeping the food items in storage. Like how do you address matters such as this?
I'll give you a clue. The egg issue some time back. We had reports of people keeping eggs out from the consumer, like hiding them basically from. Yeah.
Okay. Without mentioning any outlet's name.
Okay.
We had this case that came into us like a few weeks ago. Normally, when we do the checking, we will ask first, are there any supply of this thing? Let's say egg. Are there any eggs around? They'll say, okay, there's 2 counters behind there, there's egg. Or they will normally say, okay, sorry, there are no eggs around. After hearing there's no egg around, we will check into the store. Like 2 weeks before, it was with cooking oil. When our officer says, are there any cooking oil? We say, no. We are finished, no more stock. Consumer comes, they don't sell it. So, okay, let's see, behind there, are there anything? When we check at the store, there are a lot of cooking oil. They are actually hoarding the cooking oil.
Yeah.
So, the outlet was compounded lah, and the cooking oil was, taken by us lah. So we not only we check in front of the shop, but we go all the way behind to make sure nobody hoards or keep control item from being sold to consumers. There are two types of offences lah, basically. One, like I just mentioned, they hoard some amount of cooking oil. There are reasons when we ask, they say they want to segregate the selling of cooking oil according to hours. Say from 10 o'clock until 2, they will sell like 2-3 cartons, and 2 o'clock until 4, 2-3 cartons. They want to do this. And they are also another type that they hoard everything because they have intention to sell it to some other parties. Cooking oil can only be sold for 2 ringgit and 50 cents. Yeah. But if you hoard it, perhaps you can sell to third party for 3 ringgit 20 cents. There are 2 reasons. Let's say the reasons are to hoard, to sell it for third party, to make money of it. Normally, we will publicize these investigations, because you are not doing it for the right reason. You are actually doing it for your own benefit. These grocers, shops will be publicized. We will upload the news and everything.
In terms of coordinating your efforts to curb such things, right? How do you play that, keep that balance of not overstepping? And by asking this, I'm also asking whether there's been any significant pushback from traders saying that this is a little bit too much intervention from the government, from KPDN, where they should let us run our businesses as freely as possible. Obviously, we know within the laws. But has there been any pushback from maybe too much overstepping from the authorities?
Let me start by saying majority of our traders in Malaysia are good guys.
Right.
They are responsible, they are honest traders, majority of them. But we do have a small number of traders, they are irresponsible. Because of that, a majority of traders, they adhere to the law, and also they do not give any problems to us. Only a small numbers normally will create problems. Like I mentioned just now, the hoarding of cooking oil. These are not actions done by big companies. They are normally isolated cases and everything. So far, there have not been any pushback by any traders. Of course, one or two will, protest or everything because, but these are the bad guys lah, normally. Overall, majority traders in Malaysia are responsible, honest, and are very good guys.
So
actually.
how does KPDN, or at least I'm not too sure whether the divisions within it is helping the small traders then? Because as you mentioned, the big chains are not necessarily the ones that are incompetent. They are more professional because they are just out there, but the ones that's problematic are the small traders, right? But of course, you do not want to put them out of business. So how can we be fair to them as well to ensure that maybe they have a different sort of challenge? Maybe for them it's like their replenishing of supply is not as frequent as the big supermarkets, right? Just because they are just a small fish in the pond of sorts.
They receive supplies of goods, let's say cooking oil, sugar, flour, whatever, according to the schedule. They are required to sold those items according to the prices. Let's say cooking oil, RM2.50. They are not required to sell more than what they have. Let's say if they have 500 kilogram, you can sell 500 kilogram according to the price. The issues are not them not having enough supply. The issues are normally selling above the control price. Let's say small traders selling above control price. The enforcement treatment are equal, whether you are big supermarket or small traders. If you do such offences, hoarding or selling higher than control price, the treatment are equal. You will be investigated and you will be prosecuted, compounded or charged in court. We cannot differentiate small traders by saying you're a small trader, so that we'll give you chance first, 1 or 2 chances. If it is a major offence, I don't think we can do that. Like I mentioned before, if it's regarding small offences, okay, we will give you 1 or 2 warnings, basically 1 warning lah. But if it is a major offence, like I mentioned before, we need to take action. These are subsidized goods, subsidized items for the consumers. If you hoard or you sell above the control price, you're small or big, the treatment will be the same.
I mean, since we've already been speaking about cooking oil and everything, so I think it's quite natural for us to just segue into the third and last segment for this particular episode. For our audience, I just want to kind of like bring a little bit of background to why we want to talk about cooking oil as well as diesel subsidies, because these are just 2 items that a lot of our readers want to know more about, especially on KPDN side. So last year, the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living conducted basically an investigation against a big supermarket chain, NSK supermarket, of course, in Kuala Lumpur, following complaints of selling subsidized cooking oil to foreigners. Now, it was found that there was a misunderstanding among customers regarding the limited purchase of cooking oil packets. The supermarket actually denied the selling of subsidized oil to foreigners and limited purchase to 3 packets per transaction. So the issue has actually prompted the supermarket to lodge a police report, and the ministry eventually cleared the air and said, this is just a whole misunderstanding, right? And then the whole situation with the diesel subsidy misappropriation, I think last month in Sarawak, about 168 cases of diesel subsidy misappropriation worth over 6.5 million ringgit were recorded during Ops series in 2023. This was announced by the minister himself, Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali, in which he highlighted that the collaboration between the ministry as well as the police to combat diesel smuggling misappropriation is actually very needed. Tuan Zubir, here I want to ask you, in terms of the cooking oil first, right? How do we ensure that no sort of hearsay becomes a reality or becomes a problem for traders here? Can you provide maybe details on the protocols in place for monitoring and regulating the sale of subsidized cooking oil in supermarkets?
Okay. We have one special operation named as Ops Tenera 2.0. Okay, Ops Tenera 2.0. 9 refineries, 319 packaging companies, we call it repackers of subsidized oil, 642 wholesalers, and 998 retailers are designated as targets for Ops Tenera 2.0. The objective of this Ops is to ensure there are no leakages of subsidized oil, and to make sure they comply with Supply Control Act 1961. Okay, and also another aspect is to make sure they optimize the cooking oil stabilization scheme. Let's say one repacker are allocated 200 metric tons every month. You must produce 200 metric ton. You must pack 200 metric ton. You cannot give us excuses saying, okay, let's say Hari Raya. Hari Raya, we go on leave for 1 week, so we can only pack 2/3 of the quota.
Right.
No. Don't give us such an excuse. Why? Your quota is given for the supply of people around you. So if you produce less or you repack less, then we will have these problems. 1 week there's no supply of cooking oil in certain shops. So Ops Tenera are here to make sure quotas are completed. You have certain quota, it must be completed. And also every repackers basically need to have a complete stock book. How much did you receive, selling date, who you sold it to, the quantity you sold it to. Everything must be recorded clearly. Under Ops Tenera, we do constant checking to all those refiners, repackers, wholesalers to make sure these cooking oils are channeled into the right outlet. We do not want you produce 200 metric ton, but 100 metric ton of it cannot be accounted for. We do not know where it went. So stock books must be kept.
It's a issue basically. It's a big issue.
You see, when there are no records of bookkeeping about where you sold everything, these are where the offences normally will happen. I produce 100 metric ton. 50% of it, the enforcement division does not know where it went to. All 100% of cooking oil are supposed to be sold at sundry shops, supermarkets, hypermarkets, outlets like this. But if you do not keep any record book, there's no records. So there's a good possibility this item will be, will go to the third party, might go out of the country, to the industry. These RM2.50 subsidized oil are meant for consumers, not meant for anyone else.
So in some ways, because you mentioned that sometimes it travels across the border, so smuggling of cooking oil, which is obviously a subsidized item here, they do it under the disguise of, in some ways, sort of hoarding it, right? Just hoarding the supply. They don't keep it. They don't have a good bookkeeping practice in place, and so you have that leakage, and then it ends up being smuggled across the country. So in fact, they are actually producing enough supplies. It's just it's not in the books. I mean, they'll tell you we don't have enough.
We have a serious issue of administrative, I suppose, record keeping here. Then,
it is done, like I said before. Not everyone is doing it.
Right.
Just a small number. But even a small number, those are subsidized items. Even if it means just 100 kilogram, it is also a subsidized item. Record keeping is important. We want to trace the traceability of it. We want to know from a refinery to repackers, to wholesalers, to retailers. We want everything need to be traceable. These are the importance of stock books. But let me mention, stock books, we might think it is a book with stocks and everything written. It not necessarily have to be a book. It could be a record on computer. It doesn't matter. As long as there are such record, we are fine with it.
I just want to also talk about the diesel subsidies here. Again, for the ministry and the police in addressing the smuggling and misappropriation, how has it evolved over time, do you think? Previously, you were based in Johor as well, Tuan, I believe. I'm not too sure if in Johor there's a lot of issues when it comes to diesel. I know RON 95 is such a big issue there.
But big demand for RON 95.
Yeah, this whole diesel smuggling, how do you think this particular collaboration between the PDRM has evolved over time, and how does it differ between states here? Like
you mentioned before, in Johor, the demand for RON 95, by our neighboring country, but it is not done in big quantities lah. It's like car by car.
Right.
When I was in Johor, we had this problem. But normally it will be done by one or two, stations, where basically it will be done towards the end of the aisle, where the counters in the station will not have direct view of the car. They know these aisles are, in such a way obstructed. The views are obstructed.
Right.
So they will go there and fill up and go off right away. They will not be. They normally they won't do it in front of the counter. These are the issues. There are only one or two workers, maximum 3 workers there. These people are smart. They know where to park and how to do it. But still, the stations are very cooperative. They will try to prevent as much as they can. They will try to prevent these neighboring country cars from buying RON 95. On the issue of collaboration with police, I would like to mention that starting 2023, we have this special ops for diesel. It is named OptiRace. OptiRace. Currently, in 2023, we have 877 cases, including 386 handover cases by agencies such as police, APMM, customs, and everything. Okay. In total, the agencies, these 386 handover cases, The amount of diesel is 6.5 million litres, amounting to 14.2 million Caesar that was handed over to us. The total amount for subsidies in 2023 was 42.1 million. This year, from January until 27th of March, there have already been 324 cases.
Right.
And confiscated diesel is worth 7.5 million ringgit. It's just been 3 months, we have already got like 7.5 million worth of diesel.
Into this year alone, yeah.
Into this year alone.
Do you expect the numbers to go higher or just plateauing or dropping, and by intensifying the obstetrics?
By the number of cases and also the value, last year we had 6.4 million litres
For the
for
whole year?
the whole of year.
Oh my God.
Our number shows that for 3 months we have already passed 50% of that. We already have 3.2 million litres. The way it's going, by calculation, I can say we are going to see an increase this year.
Yeah. How much is this costing the government in terms of losses from the subsidies?
The number of the value of the diesel confiscated is around 7.5 million this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the total number that was, that was. We do not have any numbers that how much was smuggled actually.
Right.
But these are the numbers that we managed to confiscate.
7.5 million is the market value for diesel, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We've reached like 50%.
Yep.
But also, again, this collaboration between KPDN, the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, as well as the Enforcement Division, together with the police. What are some of the grey areas, or at least improvements, that you would like to see better?
Currently, we are enhancing our SOPs for handover cases. When police catch or arrest anybody in the field over diesels, smuggling or anything, normally it will be handed over to us. We are polishing up the SOPs to make sure there are no the chain of evidence is there. It's been handed over from one agency to another. We have to make sure all the SOPs and the chain of evidence are intact.
You mean like there have been cases whereby the chain of evidence was tainted in that sense?
For the time being, no. But
there are leakages still?
There are no leakages of SOPs right now.
Okay.
But to make sure, there won't be any afterwards, we are polishing it to make sure when we see, okay, these are areas that can be, we can make this thing better, we can make this SOP better, we will do it to make sure further we are looking into future. So whatever actions that are taken by the police or by us, the SOPs are clear and there will not be any breakage in evidence because of the handover.
I think that pretty much answers a lot of the questions we have for this on the price control, and obviously on this the diesel and cooking oil being smuggled out of the country.
Tuan, maybe one last question before we wrap up. Very quickly though, in terms of the price control responsibility and accountability, right? Especially for those who are at the position to sell. What sort of awareness are they still lacking in terms of this whole scheme?
Okay, that's a very good question. For traders especially, during festive season price control, they must use pink plate. the prices must be on pink plate. These are to distinguish between normal prices and also control prices. This is to make sure, one, the consumers, when they go, they see tomato, there's a pink plate there. The price tags are in pink in color. So instinctively, they will know, oh, these are price control items. And secondly, when they know those are price control items, they can counter check with website and everything to make sure is that the right price? Most traders, they will try not to put that pink plate. You know, if I want to sell anything higher, normally I will just put a white tag and then just write in the price. These are the things that traders might need to improve. During festive season, all control items, the price tag must be in pink in color.
Right.
Okay. So remember pink, remember price control. Anyway, thank you so much again, Tuan Zubir Hamsa from the Ministry of Trade and Cost of Living, as well as Hazwin Hassan, my co-host, for joining us. Again, if you like this particular episode, don't forget to comment, turn on the notification bell, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to also follow us on social media. We've got Facebook, X, as well as Thread and Instagram. My name is Amalina Kamal, and I'll see you in the next episode.